The next one I'm going to introduce is Christopher Taylor. With over 12 years of experience as a practitioner of the ancient art of astrology, Christopher Taylor combines compassionate logic with his inborn intuition to provide clients with a practical understanding of the unconscious creations that have led to their current life experiences. He assists his clients in becoming more conscious of their unconscious codependent creations, revealing the power that exists to exercise free will in order to direct the experiences of our own futures from a state of sovereign harmony. He believes that with consciousness, awareness of ourselves as whole fractals of the universe comes the power to release in the present that which no longer serves us, thereby creating in the present moment that which will serve us from now and into the future. Please welcome Christopher Taylor.
You don't have a microphone? Is this just for you? I love microphones. So I'm always like, hey, what's going on? Who here can say that they're free? Actually.
Free?
We're all freaks in this room. We're free. Okay, so freedom to me, that's what I'm aiming for. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm free right now. I'm aiming for it. I'm working on it. It's a process. And what I'm going to talk about tonight is a vision for society based on what we can do with ourselves. That's the big thing. How do we get there? So imagine a society where the individuals aren't afraid to disagree. Could you imagine loving someone you disagree with? Saying, I completely disagree with you, but I fucking love you. And I want you to keep disagreeing with me because you're different than me. You're free, in other words. I'm freeing you by allowing you to disagree with me. And by allowing myself to disagree with you, that's freedom.
Yeah.
We're all going to disagree. There should not be any two people in this room that agree completely 100% on everything. There should be some divergence. And if there isn't, what you're dealing with is essentially dogma. If two people believe exactly the same thing, that's a dogma. 3 people, 4 people, 5 people. Obviously, religion is an example of dogma. But there's other dogmas. Even in the spiritual community, there's dogmas about what is the way. We have the way, and it's you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and everyone here has their own way. So the phrase sovereign harmony, that's what you heard, that came to me in 2010, it just kind of dumped on me. I said, that's it, that's the name. What is that? What does that mean? And when I, never ask a question that you don't want the answer to. Because what does it mean? It means learning how to be sovereignly connected to the all, as I am, in whatever differences I am from other people, and to be able to harmonize with others while doing that. That's easier said than done. So my story, and another question I want to ask is, imagine a society where you can be at peace no matter what's going on around you. Because if you can choose peace, it doesn't matter what's happening around you, does it? Then you're always at peace. And if a whole bunch of people choose to choose peace, well, then there's just peace, right? And the beauty of this, which we'll get to, is the science of this and how it, the science has been trained in how you can actually create this situation. And so the last question is, imagine a society where every one of your relationships is a choice for your joy and not anything you need. Outside of being a baby who does need other relationships to be taken care of, as an adult, which we don't have processes that say, you are now an adult. It's not like high school graduation or whatever. A lot of people are children their entire life. Children their entire life. The inner child is important, but the inner authority is often neglected. And we create the society we have now because of that. A bunch of kids saying, tell me what to do. Tell me. Is that the right way? Please, please. So we're begging for teachers. We're begging for people above us. When we're the ones that are connected directly to Source. Every one of us. You are the guru of you. The Yuru. The you root. Friends that act as guides are great. I'm not saying that they don't have to exist. I'm saying at the end of the day, it's the you root. And you should disagree with the guru a little bit, because they're not you. That's them. If you're like, I love everything this person says, it's dogma. You're under a spell. You're disconnected from the source. Now your source is that person. Okay? This is what I mean by sovereignty. When you first hear the word sovereignty, you think, oh, living in a cave by yourself. No. The intent of the sovereignty is for the harmony. That's the whole point. Because you can't actually harmonize unless you're sovereign first. Because if you're codependent on the outside, you're not in harmony, you're in disharmony. You're in this. Because once that goes away, whatever that is you need that goes away, now you're, I need it. This is where addiction comes from. In fact, addiction in recent times has been linked to separation. In other words, connection heals addiction. And what we have, the society that we have now, is based on separation consciousness. Right? Everything is separate. No one's connected. You need someone to lead you there. And that's it, right? How else are you going to get there without someone else? So my story, I come from a long lineage of miserable people. People that have no idea how to be happy. And it's not even that they don't know how to be happy. It's that they don't think it's important. It's not part of life. Life is do what you got to do. My dad, I have his voice in my head every day. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. Jesus Christ. I used to listen to him when I was like 4 years old. I would wake up like at 4 in the morning when he was going to work. He worked in a factory doing, the blue collar thing, Massachusetts, a manufacturing town I grew up in. And I would just hear this. Like he sighed all the time. And I was such a sensitive kid, I would just be like, oh, he's hating me. He hates life. He has to do this because of me. He wouldn't have to do this job if it wasn't for me. And I would take that on. I'd be like, oof. And I was walking on he would snap on a dime, and I just walk on eggshells all the time, trying to get around it. And my whole childhood, I couldn't wait to leave. Let's put it that way. I know like some people, you're close to your parents and whatnot. My parents are very mechanical. They were there. That I was going to eat. I ate every day, never wasn't until I was an adult at that time. But I ate every day as a child, so I can't complain. Because I did have that basic, that Taurus level of care, the basics. But there was no connection there. I have no connection with any of my family members. I've had family members die, and I'm like, that sucks. As I'm not close to them. Like when my grandmother died, I was like, I wasn't close to her. I had an uncle commit suicide last spring. And I just seen him the month before that. He was visiting San Diego, and I met him for a drink, and I was like, that was honestly the first time I had hung out with him in years. and he goes and commits suicide.
Who was he?
My uncle. My mom's little brother. And he was, of course, on psychotropics, antidepressants. Same old story. Again, a long line of misery, where it's not our responsibility to be happy, right? Life happens to us. That's kind of the way it goes. So. And I've had 3 experiences where I almost died, or I've had out of body experiences. One, I was about 5 years old. I was in surgery for getting my tonsils out. I had 7 surgeries before I was 10, all here, ear, nose, and throat. My 5th chakra was jammed full, ready for this life of speaking. So it was getting ripped up. So I was under the knife all the time. In this one particular surgery, I remember I saw. I don't know what, I didn't know what was happening at the time, but I saw my body, I saw the nurses. There was no indication that they thought anything was wrong, to put it that way. So never at any time were they panicking, but I left my body. I saw them looking at me like, oh, he's so cute. I was 5 years old, like, oh, look at me, he's falling asleep, blah, blah, blah. What ended up happening in that, and I remember it very clearly because I was in and out of my body, and for whatever reason, out-of-body experiences, you have better memory, right? You remember stuff. I remember being in the ambulance because they found out they did my IV wrong during the surgery, and so I was completely severely dehydrated. I had like nothing left. And the ambulance ride, I remember it very clear. It was 1985, and the ambulance driver was, "Hey, you like Huey Lewis in the news?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but I don't even remember saying yeah, like because it was like I was in and out and in and out, and I was like almost in the front seat of the ambulance, and then I was in my body, and then I was here, and then it was bizarre. Anyway, then fast forward many years later, I did actually leave Massachusetts when I was 22. As soon as I graduated college, out. I'm going to figure out my life. I don't want to be in the misery because I want to feel. I want to go deep, and it's always been a thing for me. Is to really connect and connect and connect. And I started my spiritual awakening in 2000, a long time ago. A lot of people were just beginning. Mine was way back. I was 21. I got a minute. I can never do it in 10 minutes. But in any case, so now what I try to do is I try to help people to, and especially teens, understand their differences and understand that our differences are our freedom. That's what makes us free from other people, is our differences. I use astrology to figure out those differences, those inner conflicts. When you know your inner conflicts, you know what you're potentially going to be projecting onto others as what you don't want to deal with in yourself. And when you can heal that, when you can accept your own disagreements, you can accept disagreements across you. And when a whole society can start accepting disagreements, what happens? You start choosing peace. Heart math, if you're not familiar, it's a great system, and I use that. I'm a heart math certified trainer. Helping people entrain this idea of peace. Peace across spaces, and to bring peace into a space. You can go in a space where people are in discord and bring peace to them without even saying a word. And there's techniques that you can do that with. And so, and also, I went through a pretty gnarly experience, a lot like other people. I lost everything. I went kicking and screaming. I lived in the streets for about 3 months up in Sacramento. And I had to start from the beginning. After building, I had 2 businesses. They were all great and everything, and then everything collapsed. And 2013 was not a fun year for me. It's not the same year for you, right? And anyway, what I learned from that experience is that when I had nothing to do but sit in parks all day and put my feet on the ground and absorb light and be light. And I realized that when everything around you is dark, guess who the light is? And so I learned how to be the light in anything, any situation. You throw me in any situation, I'll bring it on, and I will just be the light. I'll just turn it on, and I'm not going to get sucked in. And that is the biggest power, because I'm at peace because I choose to be, and I can teach anyone how to do that, and to do that for themselves. Sovereign harmony. That's where we're headed. That's where we're headed.